As Tulsa's Booker T. Washington High School observes its 85th anniversary, there are still those among us who remember the very earliest days at that school. This is Jerry Weber. You'll meet Ernestine Gibbs in part 3 of our series. Ernestine Gibbs will turn 96 years of age on December 15th. She taught for 40 years in Tulsa Public Schools. Her first year as a student at Booker T. Washington was the year of the race riot, which the school survived.
Bernard AME Church right across the street there was left too. And see, my graduation was at Bernard AME Church. And so they just probably, to burn down, here's what they did anyway. A lot of these men were from out of town, they were from rural areas. And see, they just go in this here and set fire and then keep going. And so they probably just didn't bother about going into Booker Washington High School.
And Ms. Gibbs is another of those BTW grads who still honors those who taught here.
I want you to know that we really had the best teachers. That was days of segregation. But our graduates, if they didn't want to go to Langston, of course I attended Langston, they could enter any college, never had any questions about that. So I want to say that we had to have very good teachers to do that.
Those teachers were led by a principal named E.W. Woods, who became a legend in the community. And Ms. Gibbs remembers what her pastor, the late Reverend Ben Hill, used to say to the students at Booker T. Washington.
He used to say, respect God, and you will respect yourself. Respect yourself, and you will respect your fellow man. I think that is the main thing that carried Booker T. Washington for where it is today. And we've always done things like that, I think. And Mr. Woods used to stand up and say to us, you are as good as 95% of all the people. And he said, you are better than that 5 that's left. Yeah.
Obviously, one never becomes too old to take pride in being a graduate of Washington High School. Jerry Weber reporting from the Heartland. In the early 1970s, the Booker T. Washington High School, that beginning in 1913 had served Tulsa's African-American community, was asked to do more. It was made into a magnet school, 1/2 majority students, 1/2 minority students, a grand experiment that continues to thrive today. This is Jerry Weber. When we come back, a majority student remembers his years there in part 4 of BTW at 85.
You have to realize it's 20 years old and shoot, I hauled him away to college.
Doug Hunter works for Catholic Charities now. He enrolled at Booker T. Washington High School as a sophomore, graduated 3 years later in 1981. was a part of the magnet school concept while H.J. Green was principal. And looking back, Doug is certain he had the best of all worlds during his high school years at BTW.
Beyond the education that you can receive at that school, the life experiences that I walked away from there with 3 years later helped mature me and be able to carry on with life as time went. And I feel blessed in a lot of ways in my own life, but for that short 3-year period that I had, that was a time that seems like yesterday to me still.
And Doug makes the point that many people are aware of Booker T. Washington's athletic successes, its many state championships, but says the school goes much further than that.
Speech and debate, TV production, scholastically, scholarship money every year whenever I've attended a graduation. That's the thing that thrills me, is to see how much is brought into. And that's what people tend to forget.
And the academics at Washington would prepare Doug for college. He would later graduate from the University of Oklahoma.
It also taught you to not be afraid of a challenge. That whatever you wanted to do, you could do, because the opportunity was there and presented it to you. You still had to take advantage of those opportunities. Now, I was nowhere near a 4.0 student or anything of that nature, but the experience I come through there has been something that I'll never forget. I can't imagine going to school anywhere else, then or now. And I'm very proud to say I attended Booker T. Washington.
And Doug Hunter proudly points to the loyalty of his class of 1981. He says, out of a graduating group of 312, 297 returned for their 10-year reunion. Jerry Weber reporting from the Heartland.
Test, test, test. We're doing a mic check down here. Doing a mic check. Hello, hello. Test, test, test.